Hi, we are going to get started. I'm going to actually stop sharing because I've lost part of my screen, of course, as soon as we get started. But welcome, everyone. My name is Dr. Teresa Leary Handy, and I am the program chair and assistant professor for our entry point course at University of Arizona Global, Gen 101. And I'm going to let Connie and Jennifer, my co-presenters, introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being with us. I am Dr. Connie Lauer, and I am a member of the Gen 101 program team that Teresa serves as program chair, and we meet a lot of entry point students every week.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer Dunn. I am a curriculum writing consultant and associate faculty at UAGC. Welcome.
Awesome. We're going to get started, and I am for whatever reason, having technical difficulties, so bear with me when I start sharing my screen. Connie, am I sharing the right screen?
Yes, you are.
Yes. All right. So we are here to present about the Gen 101 pilot OER project that we had in place last year. The research team was a cross-departmental team representing with representatives from the Access and Wellness Office, Writing Center, as well as we had an associate, which is an adjunct faculty member and full-time faculty members. They were all very integral to the success of this project. And the purpose of our study, we wanted to provide faculty-created and curated resources to foster inclusion and academic success in our Gen 101 course and to improve the student learning experience at our open access institution. And for those of you all who aren't familiar with open access, it means that our students don't enter the traditional pathway and they have opportunities to use life experiences for credits to go towards their receipt of a degree, earning a degree.
Now, in this study, we wanted to address potential barriers to non-traditional student success. This project was our attempt to empower our students. We wanted students to become more confident in this entry point course by helping them understand the course concepts, using faculty-provided supplemental resources, and helping students understand that not knowing is okay and that asking for help is not a sign of weakness. We wanted our faculty to have branded resources to provide students with additional learning and practice opportunities, as well as provide opportunities to deepen engagement between faculty and students. Our aim was to normalize students' feelings as new students and increase their sense of belonging and inclusion at our institution. And we wanted to do all of this in a way that was affordable and rooted in our commitment to making education accessible to all. So please let us know in the chat or with an emoji if any of this resonates with you.
Connie?
One of our challenges in an entry point course at an open access equitable institution is that students enter at all different ages, stages, and levels of life and career experiences. So creating a course that is robust and rich in information can be a challenge. In addition, we found ourselves always looking for additional information to supplement the provided course materials. We wanted to create these resources so they were for the students we serve and not just internet resources. As we began to think about this, Dr. Handy, our program chair, attended a conference and realized that open educational resources are affordable and allow us to meet the needs of our specific students. So next slide. The materials in this study are organized to support each week of the course. There are themes for each week, and we wanted faculty to use the repository of resources to support our instructional feedback and our discussion responses, and to provide any supplemental materials to students who had need of them.
The Gen 101 OER pilot project followed a traditional research study format. We identified the materials we would create based on institutional data from our assessment office. We then submitted our study for IRB approval. And next, we recruited faculty and the students who were participants just by the fact they were enrolled in the course. Once we identified our faculty, we conducted an orientation, and the faculty attended either in person or it was a recorded orientation as well. And then we implemented the tools in the 15 courses, collected the data, and analyzed that data. So here are our research questions, focusing on the effect of the use of OERs on student retention. How we wanted to find out how students speak about their use of OERs. We wanted to understand how the instructors felt about using OERs in the classroom. And most importantly, we wanted to understand the effect of the use of OERs in supporting Gen 101 student learning. And you'll see that students felt that their performance in class was enhanced by the use of these materials. So Matt Galloway was one of our study investigators, and he shared that access to resources is an essential part of every student's academic success, and it also can be a barrier. And so he's speaking about his involvement in this project. It gives us the opportunity to support students who may not have access to the resources they need, as well as a culture that meets students' needs where they are. Meet students where they are, recognizing the unique needs of students and supporting their goal of obtaining their degree is at the heart of this project. And here are some of the resources that are, while not always specific to the Gen 101 curriculum, they are topics that impact the learners in the classroom on a daily basis, such as challenges after incarceration, impacts related to substance abuse and misuse. Difficulty prioritizing mental health and wellness are common themes that our students express in the classroom. I had a student just today express this, and I immediately made a referral for her. To the UAGC Student Advocate Helpline. This project provided Matt with an opportunity to bring information into an easy to use and free for access format that can be viewed on demand online, downloaded, or saved for later. Matt hopes that by making these resources available in this format, that learners and the general public will access the information they need, how and when they need it.
Now, this project helped me as both associate faculty and writing center staff to better understand how we can use free instructional materials to build equity in a college classroom. This project allowed me to reach beyond supporting students academically to reflect on how emotional responses to academic writing can influence student success. And I was challenged to think about where these barriers intersected when developing supportive resources. Now, next slide, please. From a writing perspective, many of our students express that they're very anxious about writing in an academic environment. So I thought it was important to kind of destigmatize this anxiety about college level writing, particularly at the entry point. The students receive a lot of writing instruction during their time at UAGC, but they don't have information about the way they feel about writing, which has an impact on their motivation to complete their written work. Building students' self-confidence about their ability to learn to write helps students feel like they belong in college. Now, for this project, I researched and found several useful and relevant OERs about college writing anxiety on the Creative Commons Resource Hub. But the resources that I found were really all text-based and seemed geared towards a traditional student population. So I used some of the useful content from these resources as a base and remixed it and added a lot more content that would better meet the needs of our non-traditional student population. I decided to make a video and podcast, excuse me, so our busy students could listen to these supplemental materials if they were multitasking. They can listen while doing the dishes, driving to work, or picking up their kids at school. And we also created an HTML announcement so that instructors could post this information proactively in their courses for students. And you can see on the screen, here's an example of how instructors could use the college writing anxiety resource in the Gen 101 course. So instructors could post this as an HTML announcement linking to the video, or they could provide a link to this resource via an outreach email. Next slide to summarize. Addressing academic anxiety supports access, equity, and student persistence in college in several ways. It destigmatizes the fear of writing in an academic environment, provides proactive support, and that proactive support through course announcements allows instructors to get ahead of potential barriers as students begin their academic journey. This helps support student confidence, and confidence translates to engagement, motivation, and persistence. Students feel more confident when they are supported and understood by their academic team. And that includes faculty as well. Sharing resources provides an opportunity to form a connection and rapport with students. The use of supportive OER helps faculty develop a sense of trust with their students, that instructors see them and are empathetic to their challenges as non-traditional students.
Carla was another one of our investigators, and she was very passionate about the project and contributed many of our video and podcasts. In her words, OER, open educational resources, are at their heart created to establish an inclusive educational experience for those who may not be able to access educational resources due to a variety of reasons. Her focus was on pod and vodcasts and how they could be used to explain the concepts presented in the course, as well as to show the importance of a step-by-step approach to achieving one's goal beginning in the first college course. And so here are some examples of the things that she created. They were to support the main topics in the course and to show students how they can use these tools from their first course as they prepare for their career goals. And that's a really important piece of Gen 101, is to make those connections for students so they understand the role that the college has in them achieving their goals, in terms of them increasing their skill level so that they can get that career advancement that they're seeking, or to make that transition from the military into a career outside once they are retired or they've completed their service. In order to make the podcast truly freely accessible, Harla considered learners who have been diagnosed with disabilities such as hearing and vision challenges. And so all of the podcasts are accessible to those with hearing loss. And in that way, she used vodcasts that include text on the screen. Basic and or interactive transcripts were also needed. An audio-only podcast can also include live captioning with specific apps such as Live Caption on Google Pixel Android phones. The basic transcripts are scripts of the audio in the podcast or the vodcast, and the interactive transcripts highlight text as it is spoken, and users can select text in the transcript and go directly to that point in the video. For those with vision loss, there are descriptive transcripts, and those are very important considerations that upheld UAGC's culture of care and the principles of diversity, equity, and inclusion, which make our course truly accessible to all. Connie?
I'd like for you to think a second about being a first-time college student who is a parent and a job holder. Immediately, they are immersed into reading college material, navigating new technology, and completing assignments in a short period of time. It can be overwhelming for most of our Gen 101 students. So providing supplementary OER resources in the key areas of their concern, which is procrastination, time management, and preparing SMART goals, and having them available for use beyond their first class, can help our students with their struggles and build a growth mindset for their future. Next slide, please. Time management continues to be a pervasive concern for all our students, but particularly for new non-traditional students who need to integrate college tasks and requirements with their full-time jobs and their home and family responsibilities. So when asking our students to reflect on their roadblocks toward the end of our class, we overwhelmingly receive concerns about the difficulty of time management. So for a period of several months, I surveyed students who successfully completed Gen 101 about their time management strategies and what advice they would pass on to their fellow students. I analyzed the responses and developed a PowerPoint blog which presented 11 strategies that were highly suggested by actual students, with the hope that the suggestions coming from their fellow students would make the information more meaningful and relevant. Next slide, please. One of the top 3 student behaviors tied to time management is procrastination. Procrastinating on completing and submitting assignments can sink even the high potential students. So most students understand this, but need reminders and ideas for facing off procrastination and overcoming the ease of delaying work. So this OER infographic is a reminder to students to look ahead, plan ahead, and work ahead. And there's also a link to a great TED Talk by Tim Urban titled Inside the Mind of a Master Procrastinator. Since these resources are in our UAGC hub, students have access to them at any time. And when they feel the procrastination curse coming on, they can access this link to turn it around. Next slide. The focus of Gen 101 is the development of students' academic and professional SMART goals. While the use of SMART goals is widespread in business and academic circles, most of our students have not encountered the SMART goal concept. So they're given textual and video explanations of SMART goals, in addition to an interactive, which takes them through the steps in creating their goals that contain all the components. But despite this, there remains confusion for some students. So for access and equity purposes, I created an academic SMART goals worksheet that gives specific examples of each component and then offers a space for students to follow suit with the components of their own goal. So the worksheet moves from the formation of a daily SMART goal to a weekly and then yearly goal. Back to Teresa.
Thanks a lot. So to track the usage of the resources, we can only document clicks. And so what you see in the middle is some early data that we collected about the signals templates that we had created that allowed our faculty to, with ease, share the resources. In the weeks where students struggled, traditionally, there were more clicks on the resource pages for those assignments. And in those early weeks, there were more clicks on the time management resources. The top 3 pages with the most clicks were the procrastination infographic that Connie just mentioned, and that video, SMART Goals podcast, and the College Writing Anxiety, which is another podcast. All are easy to review and use for our on-the-go mobile students. To help faculty share these resources, as I mentioned, they were put into this template form. It's something called Signals that we have in-house. And we found that our faculty sent the first email for week 1 the most. And as the weeks went on, they used the templates less. And one reason is that the teachers and students both reported fatigue with schoolwork and grading. So that impacted the use of those templates. One of the instructors stated that OER materials may have facilitated a sense of belonging by sharing resources related to areas students identified struggling with. For example, the videos that share the voices of online students can help them understand that they are not alone in their situation. Another instructor stated that the OER materials provided diverse perspectives on a range of topics that can benefit students from a variety of backgrounds. And the materials seem to accommodate students from all walks of life. And additional feedback was that instructors felt that students were more willing to give feedback on the materials in the beginning of the course, but as work piled up, they were less likely to respond because in the email that is sent, students are asked to kind of reflect and communicate back with their instructor, which is part of that relationship building that we're seeking. Overall, faculty reported that they felt supported having the resources easily to use and they enjoyed the additional engagement that they offered. The findings are very positive for the small pilot study. One instructor reported their student engagement was higher than in previous courses. Another instructor reported their students were more proactive and successful at completing assignments than in previous courses. And students reported that they appreciated the care from their instructors, sending them a resource that addressed a specific need. Over 66% of the surveyed students reported that the resources helped them understand the assignments better, and they found the information useful, and it increased their confidence. I mentioned to you about the percentage of the assets that were used, and here's a visual graphic of that. And you can see time management is one of those things that really impacts our students, specifically related to procrastination. And then also the SMART goals assets that were used really connects well with our week 3 assignment that is typically a more challenging assignment. And as Jennifer mentioned, our students struggle with writing. And so the college writing resource was one of the more used assets. If you can look at this study, just to help you kind of understand the graphic, the top line is blue, that's strongly agree. The next orange is agree. And then of course you go to neutral, disagree, strongly agree. So you can see that the majority of the students found the information useful, informative. They found that the materials increased their understanding of the course material. Their confidence was increased, and they also felt a stronger connection to the university after using the resources provided by the university, by the instructor. Specifically, we sought to make sure that our materials were branded as from our school, and that our instructors were using them with confidence so that our students would understand that this was specifically created to support this course and them going forward. Another graphic helps to with the same understanding about strongly agree all the way to disagree. Um, each week, students are asked to meet a learning outcome. So in that first week, explaining my why for enrolling in college, um, students felt that their confidence increased using these materials, doing that assignment. It's a writing a journal assignment. And the next one, understanding university resources and my support network. Once again, they were agreed and strongly agreed that this helped increase their confidence. And then in week 3, when students are traditionally struggling, and Connie created that amazing template to work with them, students felt that their confidence did increase. And if you look at the numbers of the students using clicking on those templates, clicking on those templates and those resources, and then also the teachers sending that week 3, you see that these two kind of go hand in hand. And then fourth week is growth mindset, and fifth week is their final personal development plan. So the students overall felt very confident using these materials, and that's what we wanted to see, whether or not the extra information provided to them would help them feel more successful. So what are our recommendations or guidelines for incorporating OER into the classroom to foster a sense of belonging and equity? Well, number 1, incorporate students sharing their experiences and perspectives. And number 2, provide OER materials as supplemental resources. That's an easy way to enter by creating assets, and be selective. Number 3 is be selective and when you're considering your student demographics. So what do students actually need? What unique struggles are they having? We actually worked with our assessment office to understand where the gaps were in our learning outcomes. So make sure it's always research-based. And then who are you teaching and who are you trying to reach? How can you incorporate their experiences in the materials that you're creating to diversify your modalities? In our group OER project, we had individual graphics, we had infographics, we had videos, we had different ways to address all the ways that students learn. So what are our institutional recommendations? Supporting open access students who enter the online classroom with little red wagons full of barriers to the classroom. Oh, I think I moved the slide. Sorry about that. Full of barriers to the classroom, need and can benefit from a supportive and inclusive classroom. So one of the ways the Gen 101 OER pilot project sought to do this was through the creation of OER that students could relate to and make connections to within their first course. The pilot study demonstrated that using university branded supplemental resources not only helps instructors, but it also allows students to increase their confidence. The information we discovered will shape future iterations of our faculty developed OER in the entry point course. And we plan to create more and to extend our readers who are using these resources. This is the link to the public facing page where our materials are housed. Oh, I'm sorry, Jennifer, go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. Um, yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth.
I know.
That's fine. This is the location where our Gen 101 open educational resources are hosted. You can scan this QR code, but I could also put the link in the chat as well. So you can access these resources, you can remix them and use them in your own classrooms.
Yes, thank you. So what's next for our Gen 101 OER pilot? We just received a second grant, and we are collaborating again with the Writing Center, and we're also collaborating with University of Arizona's Cheryl Casey to create and house new OER resources for Gen 101. We are engaging more faculty in creation of vodcast and asset creations around podcasts and other infographics and materials that could be supplementary materials that could be useful. And we're also planning our first UAGC OER Day, which is a campus-wide event to educate faculty on OER and staff. The cross-departmental collaboration team, we have book publishing, librarians, writing center representatives, everyone at the table. So over 15 of us working on this. In fact, one of our librarians has just created a LibGuide for our faculty to use. And finally, we're going to have an OER Create Day where faculty will meet and create or remix materials for their identified course. So we're excited about my experience as a faculty member, not a librarian or instructional designer, led to a project that then led to more collaboration and just the opportunity to bring more OER materials to our school, to our university. And We are really happy that while this was happening simultaneously, our Gen 101, Gen 104 course was being, the textbook was being created to be 100% OER. So all of this is just, it's like a perfect storm for progress at our university. And we're very proud to be on the bandwagon with this movement to increase equity and access to all students. So thank you very much. That concludes our presentation. We have about 5 minutes left for questions. And if there aren't any questions, which is fine, we will give you back a few minutes of your late afternoon.
Thank you, everyone, for coming to our
Thank you.
presentation.
Take care.
Thank you.
I don't know if Nestor wants to stop the recording. You're welcome, everyone. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Becky. Thanks, Stephanie. Thanks, Travis. Thanks, Jamie. Take care.
Enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
Thank you. You too,
Yes.
Michael.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Michael, I hope you